This is Flicka's second session in the round pen, and we're going to be working on basically the same things, getting her to go forward. We'll probably work on some cantering this time. She still really wants to be close to me. We got to work on that. She doesn't quite understand the personal space concept yet, so we also need to work on that. This is better. I like how she stood over there. I wanted her to go out on the circle though. There we go. That looks nice. She's really got the walk part down here. It's once we ask her to keep going forward, or when she decides she's done enough and she comes in, that's kind of where we have our problems. That looks really nice. Probably should have clicked and rewarded that. Yeah. Even though she has her ears pinned, I should have clicked and rewarded that moment where she got into the trot. Because in the first video, she's very, very reluctant to trot. And if she's going to offer it to me, even if her ears are back, I'm going to reward that. And then eventually I'll shape it where her ears are forward. But I'm more concerned about it when I'm asking with the stick than if she did it on her own as far as the ears go. So I definitely should have clicked and rewarded that because she didn't really want to offer me any forward last time. So just for now, I'd like to do that. That looked pretty good too. I like where she's going with the walk. Her walk circles look really good. I'm pretty happy with that. And she looks like she wants to be offering me a bit more movement so we can work on the trot a little bit more and do some cantering stuff, which I don't know if she's going to be great at, but has to be done at some point. Again, a not great expression. Her ears are pinned back. There they go forward. Should have clicked that right there. Yeah, so I'm letting her go too long without rewarding because she clearly doesn't love going forward and I'm not making it rewarding enough for her to do. So I missed a couple opportunities there to reward when, like that first time when she offered it and then when she got it and got into the trot this second time here. I should have rewarded both of those because that's going to have that behavior happen more often in the future, and I definitely need that. Ask her to go off again. Yeah, I'm really happy with how she's sending off. She was a little stuck to me in the beginning, but she worked out of it, and I think she'll just continue to do that as we go. I didn't really do a whole lot of work with her. I just had her for a couple weeks, and then I got my Mustang, so I gave her back to my friend. So she did 2 round pen sessions with me, a lunging session, a leading session, and trailer loading. I think that's it. But she's a cute little horse, so it just, I hopefully would give, that's really nice. I should have clicked as soon as she got into it. That was actually not bad. But hopefully I'll give you guys just some ideas of how to blend positive negative reinforcement if that's something you want to do. And then again, which most of my videos are just tricking myself and being like, here's all the things I did wrong, so try not to do those. But it's good for me too, because I'm like, oh, okay, I can go back and see what I did. Again, she's not super great at the inside turns. She wants to turn outside. I'm not going to chase her. I'm just going to be like, hey, no, let's go ahead and go back the way I wanted. I don't want to get after her. I'm not going to smack the ground, scare her. That's not going to help anything because I need the draw. If you scare the horse and they don't want to draw to you, your inside turn is gone. You don't have it anymore. They're going to continue to turn outside. So I'm just going to set myself up, give her lots of space. There we go. And I should have clicked and rewarded that too because she's really not great at her inside turns and I should have just been like, yeah, this was perfect. So again, and I just, when I blend a lot, it seemed like I don't reward enough. And this was in the beginning of when I started learning about positive reinforcement, so I was really sticking to my negative reinforcement roots too. So that's probably another reason why, but that trot looks good. She's offering me a little bit more impulsion. She's not as lazy. It could be because it's a little bit cloudier day than last time, but I'll take it. And I'm going to give her a minute to just kind of hang out here and then send her off. So I stepped over to my left here. I'm opening the door that she can go to my right and send out. And when I'm starting with a horse that doesn't know how to round pen, or even like just with liberty work, I give them lots of space, really curve over to one side and say, okay, I want you to go to the other side and really make it clear. And then as I go, I'm going to be doing that a lot less. So my other horses that already understand this stuff, I'm just going to like give them a cue with my stick and I'll just kind of stand straight in front of them. So that's where that comes in. It doesn't come in from the beginning. So if she wanted to stand quietly, I would have left her. She wants to kind of graze on little pieces of grass in the round pen, so I'm just going to ask her to move off. Again, this looks really good. I really like all of that. She's still, like, I am okay with this compared to the first video where she would turn and then take a few strides toward me. I'm okay with checking in. I find that with a lot of client horses where I am mixing and I'm adding in a little bit of positive reinforcement, I have a lot more checking in. The horse will be like, am I doing this okay? Am I going to get a treat? And they're thinking back to me. As long as they're not doing it in a pushy way, I really like it, because then you have a horse that's coming and checking back with you versus a horse that's looking out and seeing if there's danger. Like, oh, should I be worried about this? They have a lot less worry. They're thinking about you more. So even if they're saying, hey, am I doing this right? Can I earn a treat? I'm okay with that. As long as they're doing it in a polite way, I totally like that. So that was a good example of that as well. She looks pretty good. Um, I like that relaxed stance. She goes right back to it. If you're round penning your horse and they don't go back to this relaxed stance, round penning might not be a great thing for your horse. Some forward sensitive horses, I don't recommend it for it. I would do some like protected contact, like around a round pen where it's not a round pen at all. It's just a little circle that you could put like electric rope that's not on or poles or something, and then teach the horse to lunge like that. Works really well. I would just stick to a lot more positive reinforcement. It seems to just not be quite worth it with a horse that's that sensitive. You just scare them too much. So with her, I don't think she's necessarily scared. So, and she's not my horse. So that's another part of it. But that trot was okay. I don't love that reaction there. She goes into it nice. Like, she did that ear pinning for a few strides and then she travels nicely. So yeah, that was good. Click that. Because she traveled around and she might have been looking at something outside the round pen. That's fine. I don't want to continue to over and over and over again reward her for staring outside the round pen, because that will eventually get her trained to like look outside and not be as focused on me. But right now I want to work on bringing those ears back to me, so I will reward that, but just be careful with that too. Go ahead and get some more food for her. Ask her to back up, see if she'll go ahead and back up. I don't think she knows how to do this from the ground. Yeah, she kind of did a sidestep instead. No, that's not what I want. And it's a really hard thing, especially in the round pen, to get a horse to back up, because they have so many other options. They can, since you've been doing the inside turns, they're probably going to offer that first because that's what you think they're supposed to do. Here, she's just trying to touch my stick and be curious, which is fine too. There we go. And I had the opportunity there that she did it, and I can click and reinforce. Ideally, if you're going to change the back up, I would do it with a target if you're going to do it at Liberty, or I just put a halter lead rope on, because it can offer you a lot less. You have a little bit more control. So you're not, especially if you're using negative reinforcement, you're not inadvertently releasing at the wrong time, and that can happen really easy in the round pen. It looks really cool in the round pen because you're like at Liberty, but make sure that you can set that up for success, because they might want to just turn and leave instead, and you kind of, at that point you have to make them go forward or you're kind of giving them a release, so just be aware of that one. But another thing for her is I'd like her to have like follow a target, just because, well, two things. She wants to move really inverted, so she's got her head really high up, her back is hollow. I don't want her to continue to move like that. You'll see in another video with my quarter horse, she does that too, and the target helps bring their head down and she's going to follow something, so you kind of put them in that correct position anyway. And the second thing is she wants to pin her ears a lot, and I don't think she appreciates me pressuring her with the stick. I think that's where that's coming from, and then that would go away with her following something, and there would be more emphasis on rewarding movement, which I could have done a better job in this scenario with as well, but I think that would have helped for sure. Yeah, so I should have definitely added some more reinforcement. Like, I could have clicked here once her ears go forward. I probably could have experimented with a little bit less pressure, like just, that was nice. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. So where I just lifted the stick there instead of going right to smacking the ground and getting that like an increase of energy. A lot of horses, like I have a specific client horse, and it seems like Flicka is similar, where if you go immediately, like if I say I want him to walk on and then I smack the ground with the stick, he'll pin his ears because he didn't necessarily need that much energy. I kind of Like, for him, it feels like he's like, okay, you didn't need to do that. Like, and he kind of gets annoyed. So instead of going all the way to that point where I'm smacking the ground, I'll just lift the stick and I'll kind of walk in his direction. Or he goes off of voice cues really well too. Flicka doesn't necessarily know the voice cues. I could teach her the voice cues though, but that's something to think about as well, because you just might be using too much pressure and it just frustrates them. So I think that's part of the thing with her. So I just need to be a little bit softer. Because I think she understands she's supposed to trot, but I don't think she's like, I'm trotting, like you don't need to smack the ground and do that. So ask her to go forward. She wants to come in. That's a nice trot right there where she was kind of curling around me. And I did it really nice and soft with the stick, and then I went back to just smacking the ground. So I would have changed that. And she's thinking about coming in again. That's a really nice trot right there. Should click this, click anything right here. That looks really, really, really good. Yeah, I should have clicked that because that looks nice. Good transition downward though. Yep, that looks good. Yep, I just barely lifted up the stick, and she went ahead and just got into the trot, so that actually worked pretty well. So I'll give her a minute here, let her hang out. I like that she's further away from me than she was in the last session too. She's not quite as close as she was, so she is understanding, so that's nice. Because she really wanted to be on top of me. She didn't really understand personal space. I'm not sure. I want to say she's 2 or 3 at this time. Um, Maybe 4. She's young, but she's not. She's definitely not like under 2. Definitely not. But she hasn't had a ton of handling, so she just doesn't understand. So I want to give her the benefit of the doubt for sure. So lots of cranky trotting here. So again, I should have been a little bit gentler with my stick. Yeah, that was good where she wants to come in and pin her ears. I just lifted my hands up. She was like, she didn't love it, but I don't want her thinking she can kind of push her way into like me letting her come in. I'll just lift my stick. That's better. And then when she cuts around here, you can tell which side of the round pen she wants to be on. So the gate's right there. It's that taller part on the right hand of the screen, and she'll kind of cut across the center of the arena, so she's thinking she's got that magnet and it's pulling her to the gate. And some horses it could be the opposite. Maybe like there's the pasture on the left hand side. Maybe that horse wants to cut across and stay on the left. So, but that's something to think about pretty much all the time because horses have magnets constantly. Positive reinforcement really helps with them because they have more incentive to be in the other location if they're earning rewards and doing something fun. It's a lot harder with just negative reinforcement because it's usually not as fun for them. There's pressure. Most of the time there's too much pressure. And so their horse is like, nope, I'd like to leave. I want to go back to where I was. And then that's where you get your magnets. And most of their time they're the gate or they're other horses. So that's also a really important thing to think about when you're training. She's gotten a little bit further away from me at the walk, which I'm fine with as well, but it was just something to notice since last time she was a lot closer. But here she's cutting in with that magnet right there. So, and then the gate's right there where she's passing by now, so just something to watch the track. They're not doing stuff for no reason. So we should have, yeah, done some more inside turns because she's not very good at that at all. I think I was kind of stuck there just letting her get forward, but I could definitely do both. So I'm going to arc around. I want her to go to my left, and it's going to help if I get her hindquarter over because she was kind of setting up straight to go past me there. I should have clicked that one because she had a nice inside turn there, and she paused too, and I should have. I like this walk. Everything about her walk, it looks nice. So probably should have done more inside turns at the walk before I started asking for the trot and just kind of got those sorted out a little bit more because they're not great. This is a nice trot though. Let's see if she can go into a canter. Not too bad. I should have clicked her as soon as she got into it because I already know that she's not going to be. And then she went and slowed down at the gate, so that's another sign. They'll slow down where they'd like to stop and be at. Um, so I knew she was going to be not a very forward horse, so as soon as she took that one stride into the canter, I should have clicked and rewarded that. Really, I need to, especially with a lazier horse, like be more consistent and more clear with rewarding the forward movement. And then it's going to be the complete opposite with a more forward horse. It's going to be consistently rewarding, slowing down, standing still, relaxing. It's just you're balancing the horse you have at any given time. So, but I'm kind of nagging her a little bit there. I was swinging the stick and she was already walking, so that's something you definitely don't want to do either. You're just going to dole out your cues. So I probably would have given her less walking time, more changing directions, more trotting, more cantering time. Don't want to trot and canter them too much, but she could have just practiced some transitions into it because she needed that to go forward and just kind of free up. She was really kind of sticky. So I'll give her a second. Another thing to think about is if you're going to give her a treat, I usually like to do it away from the magnet too. So if I'm working on the trot and I ask her to trot, I want to put on the pressure for the trot at the gate or wherever your magnet is. And then when she gets into it, hopefully she'll be kind of on the other side of the round pen. I can click and reward and let her stand over there. So I want to rest her away from it or reward her away from it and then kind of make her work by it. That helps balance them out. So when she stopped and looked in there and then got that fly, I just raised up my hand and my stick and just softly, and she went right back into the walk. That looked really good. So still don't love the head toss into the trot, but her trot has evened out. She seems like she's lowered her neck a bit. Work on the canter this way, and she just kind of runs into it. I probably should have broken it down again a little bit more for her, worked on the trot a little bit more, getting that evened out, getting her more forward, more relaxed, and that would have helped the canter because when she gets into the canter like that and just kind of runs, it's not really helping anybody. Practicing that kind of canter is not good for her. If it was still like that after I'd done a lot of trot work, I'm okay with it as long as, say, she gets into the canter, she does a stride that's fast like that, I click a reward. So I'm first getting out of the way the part that getting into the canter is what I want, and then from there I can shape it. But if I just let her continue to canter around, like if you let your horse do laps at that kind of canter, you're just kind of practicing the wrong thing. So it doesn't really matter if you can get them to canter in the round pen if they're doing the wrong kind of canter. If she's upside down and inverted and hollow, that's not going to help you, especially when you're going to try and be on her back and have her carry you. So there she crossed over. That looks better than last time. And I'm marking when she's crossing that hind foot over the other one because she had trouble with it last time. Same thing here. That looks really good too. Yeah, and she took two nice steps over with that inside hind foot crossing. So you're going to see a lot more relaxation when she does that. It's going to tell you what they're thinking. She's going to block me a little bit here. So I'm trying to get back to the other side. So I'm just going to get that side and then try and push that hip over so that I'm on that opposite right side. There we go. But see how she's stepping together, and then steps across. She's stepping up and across. So when they step together, they step behind. There still has some tension. There we go. And I probably could have been a lot softer here and not as rushy. That probably would have helped. But we've got some nice steps. And then once you have that hindquarter yield, they should follow you off like this. So, and she got a little distracted by the grass, but I like her headset and where her mind's at right now. But I like to do that hindquarter yield at the end, kind of see where they're at mentally, if they're stepping together, if they're easily stepping underneath and have that bend to their body, and then they'll usually follow you afterward. I'm not worried about her following me laps around the arena. If she takes a few steps forward, that's all I want. I just want to make sure that she's connected after that because that's the whole goal of the round penning. So But I'm just going to end on doing a little bit of desensitizing, making sure she's not afraid of my stick, and she's not. I think she was more annoyed because I think my cues were a little bit too strong, but overall not bad. And then see if she'll do another backup step here. Kinda. She was thinking about leaving too because she had her head tilted to the left. But overall, she's made some improvements.